Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Raw for Life. This is a special Easter episode that I'm doing. I've been able to find a delicious grain-free hot cross bun recipe that I'm super excited to share with you. For all of those who are gluten-free or following a paleo diet, who don't want to miss out on the tradition of the hot cross bun, which I personally is my childhood favorite, this is the recipe for you. Just want to acknowledge and thank Nicole Dickman for sharing this recipe on her blog, getrealliving.com. The link is below if you want to check out the recipe that you can actually print out, and I'll also have that featured on my blog as well. So let's get into it. Now, it's really simple. This is about a 10-minute prep time and a 20 to 25-minute cooking time. So you can pretty much have these babies done in about 30-35 minutes. What I've done is I preheated the oven to 170 degrees Celsius, and I'm gonna go through the ingredients list and let you know what we need to get these little babies cooking. Okay, so I've already got here some almond meal. So I've got 1 cup of almond meal. So we're using almond meal, we're using a 1/4 cup of arrowroot and a 1/4 cup of coconut flour, and they're going to be our flour replacements. We have 4 eggs. We have 150 grams of organic butter. I have a 1/4 cup of desiccated coconut. We've got in here 3 tablespoons of honey. You could also use maple syrup if you wanted to replace the honey. I have nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon, baking powder, and some salt. Also, we will be using bicarb. Okay, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? Take our bowl. I've already put the almond in there. We're going to take our arrowroot flour. You can get arrowroot flour at most, you should be able to find it in the supermarket. I actually got this from the market, like at a bulk foods or a wholesaler. So arrowroot is not a hard flour to actually get, and you should be able to find it in a health food shop. And we've got our organic coconut flour, so a 1/4 cup. Now we're going to take, with my beautiful little heart-shaped spoons, 1 teaspoon. I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon into that. We're going to take a generous pinch of ginger. I'm going to put in a little bit because I love the taste of ginger. That's just my personal preference. So, you know, you don't have to, there's no hard and fast rule when it comes to spices. Just put in what you like. I've just put in a pinch of nutmeg. Okay, now we're also then going to mix in a tablespoon of bicarb soda and a tablespoon of gluten-free baking powder. Okay, there we go. And a pinch of salt. That's just my Himalayan salt. Okay, so we're just gonna mix that together. Now, usually this would look very, very powdery, but what's happened is I actually made my own almond meal, so it's a little bit, I over-processed it. So this is, it almost went pasty, but that's okay. It will still work out. So just mix that around. So basically we're just mixing all of our dry ingredients. Okay, just a little tip about almond meal. Obviously you can buy almond meal in the supermarket or wherever you normally would buy it from. I tend to make my own almond meal. I find it's a little bit more cost effective rather than buying it made for you. Almond meal is so easy to make. All it is raw almonds, basically in the food processor or a blender until it becomes into a meal consistency. Okay, so at this point of the recipe, we're gonna get our tray. I'm gonna be using a 6 muffin tray, a jumbo size one. Now, I love to use these. These are like little muffin wraps, which you can get in the supermarket. They're really cute. So therefore I don't have to grease my tray. Otherwise, what I would do is just grease it with butter and just sprinkle in some coconut flour to grease it. But this just makes it so much easier to work with. Okay, now we're gonna just take the dry ingredients aside and put in another bowl. And we're going to take 3 eggs. And just put them in there. So we're going to take our 3 eggs, our honey, like so. And what I've done as well is with the butter, I tried a earlier batch before, and I tried to do it without melting the butter. and it was quite difficult. So I ended up just slightly melting it. So take your butter as well, put it in there. Okay, so we're just going to take our beater and we're gonna beat that till it's all blended. Okay, so now we're just going to blend our wet ingredients with our dry. I'm already starting to smell like that ginger and that nutmeg. I've mixed all those together. As you can see, that's the texture. Now, before I go adding any more flour, like coconut flour, because it does look quite a bit wet, I'm going to take, there's 3/4 cup of sultanas there. Now, I did make an earlier batch. If you're not into fruit and you don't like sultanas, you can be a little bit naughty and put in dark choc chips instead. So I'm gonna mix the sultanas in first just to see the consistency before I assess. Now, I actually think that's okay, but what I might do is I'm just gonna take a sprinkle of flour, just like a little small handful, and mix that in just to see. So we're gonna take and we're gonna fill up 3/4 of the way up. It's all right to be messy, it's the fun of cooking. Hopefully you have someone else to clean up for you so you don't have to do it yourself. Unlike me, I cook and clean. Such a domestic artist that I am. Here we go. What you want to do, because we want them not to be, we want the tops to be flat, because we're still going to put our crosses on there, so we don't want them to crack. So what you want to try to do is actually push it down as much as you can into the tin and have as much as possible a flat surface. So just use the spoon, sort of play around with the mixture and try to get it as flat as possible. So we've got 1/4 cup of organic desiccated coconut, and we're going to take 1 egg white. We don't need the yolk, just the white, because we want to keep the white color of the cross. There we go, like so. And then we're going to just take a fork and mix that up. Okay, now for this part, you're going to have to use your hands. So you're gonna just take, I don't know, just a little handful. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start putting, I'll do this one. And you're just gonna lay it as thin as possible. You don't want it to be too thick across, like so. Until all the way down. You want to try to keep it as thin as possible because as it expands, you don't want it to be too thick. And just play around with it a little bit. So there is our muffins, our hot cross buns ready to go in the oven. Just keep in mind, if you are going to be worried about presentation, if you've got any of the batter around on the edges, that will actually kind of blacken as you're cooking it. So just clean up as much as you can if you're worried about presentation. So now I'm just going to pop these in the oven. They're going to take about 20 to 25 minutes to bake. So in the meantime, I'm going to get ready a delicious pot of tea. Time to take these babies out. Oh, wow. That smells divine. Look at these babies. Oh, I cannot wait to get my hands and my teeth into these. So guys, I wish you all a very happy and blessed and safe Easter. I really encourage you to try this recipe. It is absolutely delicious. The best thing about it is that you can enjoy this beautiful Easter tradition without having a food coma or actually feeling sick afterwards. This is a guilt-free Easter treat for you and your family. And you know what? Yes, it's probably going to take you the exact same amount of time to go out to the store and buy some. Firstly, they're going to have flour. Second of all, there is nothing like baking for your loved ones, for your family and friends. Just share it. Just take the time to do it. Especially for those of you who don't bake all the time, just try it out. As for me, I'm going to go now and enjoy the rest of my tea and really enjoy maybe just one more hot cross bun. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Once again, thank you to getrealliving.com.au for Nicole Dickman for sharing this wonderful recipe. It's absolutely delicious. And please leave your comments, share this recipe with all your family and friends for Easter, especially for those who you know are gluten intolerant, who perhaps would still like to enjoy some hot cross buns. And subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.